I hadn't played basketball, I wouldn't have found out. I think I wouldn't have found out how, I mean, I might use two words here, just like how
Sure.
resilient and like strong I am as a person. I think it's definitely pushed me a lot and, made me learn a lot of things. And, I've had a lot of highs and lows over my career so far. So I definitely just say being resilient and, being strong.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far, high or low. Welcome back to the Coach G podcast. And listeners, I'm honestly excited to have a very special guest, Olivia Forster. Olivia has built an incredible basketball journey so far. She's competed in the UEABL for 3 seasons, winning a championship and leading her teams to 2 final appearances. She's also represented England and the under 14s through under 18s level and captained Great Britain's under 16s, under 18s, and under 20 squads. And she's also played at the college level in the US with Upstate. She's recently signed to the Essex Rebels in the Women's Super League. And today we're going to dive into her journey, her growth as a guard and leader, and the lessons she's learned competing at some of the highest levels. So, listeners, please give a warm welcome to Olivia Forster. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And just before we even just get started, just on your journey, because I mean, you have quite the resume, Olivia, honestly, and I feel like your player career is only just getting started. As we speak now, Olivia, how is your physical and how is your mental?
Honestly, awesome. I think the just from being there a couple of weeks at Essex, it's literally that's
Yeah.
the word I keep using. It's just awesome. I love it here already. I feel really welcome and kind of at home, which isn't always the case. And it's definitely done
Hmm.
like wonders for my mental health being home for a long period of time and
Yeah.
physically, obviously. I feel like I've been, at it this summer. So I feel good for now, but we'll see if once I start, getting up and down again, if I've still got my running in me, but I'm sure I'll get it back quite quickly.
Right. And just starting with, I guess, the introduction, because one thing I love is, I mean, especially, I mean, know this super well. There's that story that will be different for the person who's picking up basketball, let's say in the US or Spain, where there's a huge basketball following and culture. But in the UK, I mean, I notice kids like on the bus who have like a basketball or someone's bouncing ball, like, oh, like I don't see that often, and it's growing, which I love. But I'm always curious, especially for homegrown talent in the UK. Can you take us back to your introduction into basketball and how did you first fall in love with the game?
Yeah, so I used to do a lot of like sports as a kid. I did loads of different things. But the main reason I got into basketball was actually my brother. He played first. He's 3 years older
Ah,
than me. So I think I was about 7 when I like just started playing basketball at like my local like ball hall, we call it up north. I don't know if that's what you
mhm.
call it down south.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was just like, we were watching him and I was like, look, like I'm bored. Like to my mum and dad, I was like, can I join in? So I started playing. And then I think I joined Manchester Mystics. So I took kind of like then started taking
Yes.
it seriously and moved to like a role, like on obviously a developmental club at about 12. So I guess I started obviously taking it seriously and falling in love with it around 12, 13. Before then, I was not great. I would just play for fun. But yeah, so I guess I always owe it to my brother of how I started basketball.
Mm.
So yeah.
And I mean, you just mentioned it there, like some of the first teams you started with. Like, what was your experience like playing for Manchester Mystics and Ipswich, and how did those environments shape your development?
I honestly couldn't have asked for better from either club. I think around like under 14 age was like the main developmental stage for me. Like my under 14 coach is called Jim Carnegie. Like he's one of the best to ever do it. I don't know how many national championships he's won, a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Manchester was awesome. Obviously, it's always home for me. And the decision to leave was obviously quite hard. It was between Manchester and Ipswich, and I just wanted a change, and that was just the best decision for me at the time. And Ipswich
Mm.
is also kind of a home for me. Well, I say kind of, it definitely is a home for me now, and I couldn't have asked for two better programs to help and shape me as a player, for sure.
And I mean, just before we even speak about, I mean, obviously you've competed at the national league level and just even to represent your country, which comes with a lot of responsibility, but it must be such a huge honor at the same time. Like before we even speak about that jump, Olivia, like when was that moment? Because I feel like every player has that moment where whether it's the game starts to slow down or you've been practicing on making free throws and the game comes down to free throws and you make the two to seal the game. Like, when was that moment for you, Olivia, when you realized that I'm actually nice at basketball?
I mean, I guess it was under friends, but I do know like what you mean. I feel like from like my older self, like when I moved to Ipswich, like if I'm being honest, I wasn't really actually that educated yet on like the WABL and like Hoots Fix
Mm,
and all these kind of like platforms and stuff. And I had just played my first game and I was like, everyone was like, oh my God, look, like you're on Hoots. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what are you on about
yeah,
Hoots Fix? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, and it
yeah,
sounds silly, but honestly, like, because I don't actually think like it was too much like media around basketball yet at my age. Or maybe I was just absolutely clueless. I have no idea. But that
yeah,
was definitely like a cooler moment. And then like when I was younger, we ended up Manchester Mystics, like my under 14 team, like we ended up winning and I ended up like winning MVP, which like do you know what I mean? Like when you're in the game, like you're not even thinking about it. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
I was like, oh, yay, nice, like, yay, like, oh my gosh, like it just wasn't something you think about, and then you're like, okay, like like it is your life when you get to a
Mm,
point. Like I think about 16, you're like, okay, like this is what my life's around now, kind of thing.
yeah. See, and see, that's an interesting insight because I mean, you would think, or at least I always thought when you've been selected for your talents at such a young age where you're representing Great Britain and England, I guess you kind of answered it there, but if there's more to add, please feel free. Like, I don't know, did it hit that I could actually make something out of this? Or was it a case of, okay, it's like, I really love basketball. It's an amazing passion of mine. I'm representing GB, but you didn't really realize the scope of what it could potentially be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was always a goal of mine from like a young age. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we didn't do
Yeah.
like under 16 GB. So like I'd never
Hmm.
actually played or been selected for GB until my first year of under 18s. And like I feel like when that moment kind of happened, I was like really excited and happy. And then we kind of got there and I was like, whoa, this is tough. Like it's got
Yeah.
completely different kind of experience.
Yes.
And yeah, I always feel like when you go to the European Championships, it's always such a obviously it's an honor, but it's such like an amazing experience to kind of be like wow, like you're actually playing with like other European teams and like some of
Yeah.
like you like play against really amazing, talented players and you just kind of think like wow, like this is like where I'm at. Like I'm obviously, doing well for myself and then it's also trying to do well and represent GB well at the same
Yes.
time. Like it's always tough, but yeah, it is there's definitely surreal moments within all of GB always, and yeah, I'm just always lucky
Absolutely.
that I've just had them experiences.
Right. And just even on that, like to be a captain, because it's funny. I just had shout out to Carl Wheatle. I had him on the pod, and he was kind of telling me his story of how he became a captain and just the honor, and it came to him by a shock, but just the responsibility it comes with, and for him it's a role that he kind of had to grow into. For yourself, Olivia, I mean, you captained multiple GB youth teams, so what did leadership mean to you at such a young age, and how did you grow into that role?
Yeah, I definitely have had to grow into that role. I'm very aggressive on court. That's the word I'll use.
Yeah.
I found myself always, wanting like not just focusing on myself in games, like figuring out what's best for the team. And I feel like as a point guard or just any kind of guard position, like you have to think about everyone else as well as like yourself, like what positions to put
Mm,
everyone in, who's best where, like what should I run right now, like those kind of things. I just feel like I've definitely been someone who likes to, I won't say take charge, but like be a vocal person. Like that's kind of my
yeah.
personality in general life. I feel like as I've got older, like it's definitely, I've definitely matured and understand the responsibilities a lot more now than I did back then when I was a bit younger. So it's just kind of figuring out how you get the best out of everyone, what their best like the best way to speak to them is, what their best response is out of certain situations, and knowing their skill sets.
Mm,
And yeah, it's definitely something that I take a lot of pride in myself, like just making sure that like I'm not just representing GB, like make sure that the team's representing themselves well and myself. Yeah, it's definitely something that I always aspire to kind of have in a team, being vocal and just, trying to get the best out of everyone in any situation.
right. See, and this is something, I mean, honestly, you are someone that not just a lot of girls, just like players in general, can learn from. Because I mean, to be given that role so early and just how you've honestly how you've handled it is it's in steady hands, if that makes sense. You've never been to I mean, just from what I've watched, just how you played, and even this summer watching the under is like how you've handled yourself. You take it with great pride, responsibility, and is something definitely that a lot of players can look up to. And even just speaking about the development of a guard and a leader for yourself, Olivia, like when did you realize guard play was your natural position, and what skills did you focus on to separate yourself from the others?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a kind of giveaway is I've been 5'4/5, 6 with my basketball shoes on, more claim. I've obviously been my height since probably I want to say like 14. So obviously, it's kind of a given that that's going to be, my role. But
Yeah,
um I would just say I obviously was taught. Now, I don't know if this is lucky or if it's just, maybe this was my skill set from a young age, but obviously, shooting and being able to, just practice from a young age to being, from just being taught to shoot threes from a young age, I think definitely helped me be able to expand, being able to shoot, even if someone's in your face, off the dribble, etc. Like as I've got older, but I think because I started so young, it's definitely a skill set that I take pride in, and I'd say is one of my best kind of attributes. And I think the past few years is when I've kind of realized that obviously my mentality is to score, but that I do see the court quite well and like to
yeah,
pass the ball with like a sense of like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I take pride in my passing. Like I wouldn't,
yeah,
you know, like you don't want to turn the ball over like you're a point guard, but just,
exactly.
making sure that it's a good pass, it's the right pass, it's at the right angle, predicting where your teammates are gonna be. I think that's just something that I've definitely focused on over the past few years in my guard bag, we'll say.
Yeah,
Just making more better reads and being able to see the court, because I believe that if you can shoot the ball, if you can pass the ball offensively, like they're key things to being a successful guard. And then obviously just being a really hard worker defensively,
yeah,
especially as a guard when you're a bit smaller, like you just have to do that extra work that like
yes.
maybe
Talk
you
about it.
think
Yeah,
like you just have to, like it's literally just a given when you're kind of
exactly.
like a bit shorter. So
Yeah, you see, I'm glad you say that. You really can't beat hard work. I mean, everyone
yeah.
knows the quote. What's the quote that Kevin Durant said? Was it hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there are pros who are a pro not just because of, yes, they're tall, they have the physical attributes, but they just work their ass off. And that's something that I definitely just want, especially some of the next generation, to really take into consideration. And for yourself, Olivia, like as a leader, what's your approach? Because you kind of mentioned it earlier in the pod. You have to balance getting shots for yourself What defense are they running? Where's the help coming from? Okay, this play isn't working. Let's go to this play. Like, what's your approach to balancing scoring, playmaking, and keeping your teammates engaged?
I'd say it honestly depends on the game, but I feel like I'm very competitive. So say this game, like I'm making threes, like that's what's working for us, like that's what I need to do. If one game
Yeah.
my shots aren't falling and my teammates are hot, or like all I need to do is play defense, like you just get to a point where it's like you have to realize what the team needs from you each game, and you have to just deliver. And I
Yeah.
think for me, it comes from just being competitive and wanting to win so badly that I don't really care like what it is. Like I'll just do it and put all my effort like into that. And obviously sometimes it might be a bit of both. It might be loads of different things, but I think just making sure that everyone has some sort of competitive edge and like the want and need to win is what kind of like drives me, and I feel like drives my vocal energy for others to get us engaged and just reading the game by whatever it is that day.
And you mentioned a skill which I feel like not just is important for a guard, but just players in general, passing, which I really love that you mentioned, because you really take, like you said, you really take pride in passing, because at the end of the day you don't want to turn the ball over. Like, why is that skill so important to you? Or like, why is passing kind of on the same level as shooting and scoring in a way? Like, why is being able to make that on time on target pass like a valued skill in your opinion?
Yeah, so I would say that just the higher levels you go up, the more important, taking care of the ball and giving on time on target passes are. Like it's the difference between, a turnover, a shot being made, putting your teammate in the right position. It's just as the levels go up, the defense gets up, your offense then kind of needs to be built up as well. So I just think
Right.
it's just something that like definitely should be like emphasized. It's like seeing the court and making sure that like where to put the ball best, and it's just something that I feel like, yeah, just should be emphasized because it helps a lot. Just making sure that your teammates can hit down that shot if they're open, or it's the difference between having a clean possession then a few like knocks or
Mm,
steals, and then it just kind of runs the flow. You want a nice clean offense and just the best position for your team at the end of the day.
right. And just even one thing I learned is, especially, speaking with, high level athletes like yourself, the when you get to the European Championships and you're just playing at that level, the scout report is so extensive, and the team, the coach, the players know exactly what you're gonna run, what each player likes to do. Do they like to go right, left? Do they like contact? Do you force them left, force them right? The scout report is very detailed, and even just defensively, what are some cues, Olivia, that you look to and anticipate plays, or that will help you slow down opposing guards, would you say?
Yeah, so obviously knowing your scout, first of all, is the main thing that you want to, be able to like have down. I think
Yeah.
just like a lot of people's body language, like look, obviously,
Mm,
where their eyes are looking, they're most likely going to end up passing the ball. But yeah, main thing is obviously scout. Like, it's not even necessarily, like beating them and making sure that they don't run the play. It's like just making sure the way that, coach wants you to guard it, how we should be in help, how you should be, in X, Y, and Z. Like, there's loads of different things that like defensively you can look for, but I think the main thing I do is you just want to stay in front of your man like at the end of the day. And sometimes people have certain moves that if you already know like that's their
yeah.
go-to move, like it for sure helps you like straight away in, okay, I know she's going to cross between, just stuff like that. It definitely just gives you a step forward and knowing what you're going to do. Then as well, offensively, like the better teams are going to know that you're anticipating it and do a different read. So it's just keeping them honest and,
Yeah.
just staying in front is my always my aim. So
Right, absolutely, and just kind of touching upon basketball IQ, which I think is so important. I mean, because I've even seen some players not make it to the international level because it's not through lack of skill or just the physical attributes that they have. It's just more reading and reacting and just understanding that they're in a zone and okay, now we need to attack the gaps. Why are we playing a zone? How to counter a full court press and things of that nature. So for yourself, Olivia, like how important is basketball IQ for guards and how do you personally work on improving your decision making?
yeah, I think a key thing that like people either may not do or think is actually just watching basketball.
Yeah,
Watching
yeah,
basketball is like a major thing, that obviously I love to spend my free time doing. I love watching women's college basketball, the
yeah,
WNBA. I'd love to sit here and say that I do watch a lot of men's basketball. If I'm honest, I don't.
yeah,
I see it enough, on social media, but mainly for me, like I do watch more women's basketball.
yeah,
And I think that's definitely something that's probably helped me throughout, from being young to older. It just kind of, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that was a good read. Or, oh, that person might have been like, I feel like when you watch it, especially even when you watch yourself, watching back film
yes,
is definitely a big help as well. You tend to be your biggest critic. Well, I definitely do. So, you get to see like things that you may have missed and think about that next time. IQ to me for guards is like kind of on the same level as like hard work. With a point guard or shooting guard position, like you're going to have the ball in your hands a lot, and having IQ is a main thing that I feel like you kind of have to have, as well as, outworking the guy next to you. Like it's just something that is almost a given at this point in this day and
yeah,
age, like for guards, like that is the standard, and it's definitely, I think, watching helps IQ. And then obviously, if there's something that say I might have not liked my ball screens in a game, that might be something that I go and work on, not maybe not even with another player, obviously that would help, but
yeah,
just, being a bit creative and just kind of, going over what different reads you can be doing, especially when you know your opponent's defense, and obviously up the levels. That's probably something that'll already be put in your practice plan. But
yeah.
yeah, definitely watching basketball, the biggest thing for me, I would say, for keeping IQ or adding to it.
Right. I love that. I'm very appreciative that you said that because one thing for me, I mean, I preach that when I'm coaching, like, because I mean, that's how I um, understand the game even more. And I tell my players, watch the game from three perspectives as a coach, a player, and most importantly, a referee. From a coach's perspective, you want to understand, okay, why did they call that play? Oh, because the defense had a gap there. And then as a player, I like this player. I love how she goes to the basket and score. Let me work on that. And then as a referee, okay, that's 3 seconds. That's why that call was a travel. Or okay, when she did the screen like that versus this. That's why it was called a moving or blocking. So I love that you said that. And just even like the level that you compete at, Olivia, what are some key habits or skills young guards should develop if they really want to impact the game beyond just scoring?
Yeah, so obviously for guards, having working on ball handling is obviously a major thing. You're gonna have the ball in your hands a lot. I think just be learning to be, which is something that is definitely not easy, but I think the more you practice it, especially in games and in like live situations, like being almost comfortable and poised on the ball, definitely like is something that I think people should always be working on. Still like I still want to be poised all the time on the ball. I'm
Yeah,
definitely not. But that's something that I think is, something that we should all guards should definitely aim to kind of go for, is just feeling comfortable. Like you don't even have to look comfortable at this point. Like just as long as you feel comfortable and poised, especially if you're a point guard, then that
yeah,
gives your teammates reassurance and obviously yourself reassurance that, you're cool, you can handle yourself. And then when it comes to, passing, it's just again like upping your IQ, making sure that you've done different types of passes. I think obviously at levels you should work on both hands, being able to
Yes.
pass. Like you don't know what situation you're going to be in. It's not always going to be a right hand pass. It's not even always going to be a left hand pass. You might have to jump start, use your footwork to get the pass through. So yeah. And then obviously defensively, I just hard work. Like you, I don't
Yeah.
think I'm exactly the most athletic, fastest person ever. I'm not probably going to beat you by being quick, but obviously, I'm always going to try my best and give all my effort that I can to stay in front defensively and make sure that I'm in help for your teammates.
Right. See, and that's something again I love because the game of basketball, it's like it's funny because I teach PE at a primary school. A lot of players, sorry, kids associate with basketball. You need to be super tall, but I'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, like a couple, well, not a couple, like a few years back, like excuse me, Nate Robinson won the slam dunk competition, and he's what like 5'5" or something like that. And even when you look at some of these high level players, I mean, even like yourself, you don't have to be the quickest, the most athletic, but if you're highly skilled, like you said, you play with poise and you just read the game well, you'll be surprised with just how far that skill set and the fact that you work hard, like how far that can take you, and just even on that, like what's one piece of advice you'd give to an aspiring guard trying to lead their team more effectively?
I would say if it comes to leading, especially just understand everyone's kind of habits, what they're good at, make sure that you're like just you know everyone well enough to know how to get the best out of them and what's going to be best for them on the
Mm,
floor. And I'd also say just, being able to, sometimes coach isn't always gonna a play or you may not hear what they call, etc. It's like
yeah.
being like the details enough in your system that like you see a mismatch, so you're like, right, I'm going to run this play and get this person in this mismatch. Like I would just say being attentive enough and knowing all the details in what you want to run or do defensively, so that what you at the end of the day, like you're the one on court at the end of the day. If you know what you're doing and you know what the team's looking for, and enough details to like get the right read or get the right, defensive rotation, possession. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I would just say making sure you know the details so that when you're on court and you get put in that position, like you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and kind of just making a small shift just before we kind of speak about one. I'm excited to be honest that you're one playing in the SLB and you got it's a brand new signing and a brand new chapter for you, and even just competing at the US level. But kind of just taking a moment to pause, if I may, Olivia, like when you reflect back just on how much you've done and just the hours that you've put in on and off the court. Like, I mean, you've played nearly at every youth level for GB. So looking back at those moments, what moments or lessons stand out the most from those international competitions, would you say?
This is probably maybe not even the right answer, but I feel like sometimes, especially when we were younger, we'd go to really high level like Spain, or, go and have a tournament somewhere. And if I'm being
Mm,
honest, get absolutely blown out. And we would
yeah,
be like, damn, and I feel like those are actually the moments I still like some of my teammates from this year, like we joke and talk about them all the time. But like those actually are the moments when you lose bad and like you have this many turnovers and
mm,
you let the team absolutely they beat you, like you just not gave up, but you didn't even try, and get it back kind of thing. Like those, when you're playing a very good team, those are definitely the moments that like you look back on and you laugh and you joke. Those, I think, are actually the moments that emphasize like the things that you have to work on and we
yeah,
have to do better as a team. We definitely as a country have gotten a lot better these past couple of years, especially the older leagues, at just showing that we can play against these European teams and we can win and we can beat them. And it's almost like sometimes feel like we doubt ourselves and be like, oh, well, we're not going to beat this team because they're Division A or they're, it's. Brazil, like I'll
Yeah.
give an example. We went to 3x3, I think, in 2022, and we played like Japan,
Yeah. So yeah, the World Cup. Yeah.
Chile, all these teams that we definitely could have, these few teams that we could have beat, and we ended up losing. And it was actually one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. But we went into our final game playing Brazil. They're top of the table, and we could have easily been like, yeah, like let's just get this game out of the way. Like it's our last game. We know we're not getting through. Like we're just not even gonna
Yeah.
even bother. And that was the first game we won because we didn't care. We just played for ourselves, and like we didn't let them like beat us. Like we never like back down almost. So I think as bad as it is, like those experiences where even as you're older, like when you get beat and you have to learn and get better, it's not annoying, but it's one of the things where you have to work on it, but you kind of don't want
Yeah.
to. But at the end of the day, it always makes you better. And as long as you don't back down, especially when you're wearing a GB uniform, like that's the main thing I think
Right.
that is something that I've always learnt from is it's mainly, ends up being turnovers, but that's just again, having pride and like being like, no, you know what, like we're gonna take care of the ball. Like even if we
Yeah.
lose, we're gonna take care of the ball. And it's the bad games that make you realise it. But
Right.
yeah, always
Exactly.
ends up with a positive outcome.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's funny. You and Haley Wright shared the same lesson, just in terms of, I think for her, she was saying like she remembers competing over in Spain, and it was like the fourth quarter, and a certain scenario happened where they completely lost momentum, and she was like, she's gonna use this failure as a lesson, like she never wants to be there again, or just like really take
Yeah.
ownership of what they can do better, and I just love that, you know high level players like yourself, and I really noticed this. You guys are so great at, obviously, yes, bad moments are going to happen, but rather than head down, oh my gosh, I just turned the ball over, rather than like shrugging and giving up. So now it's a 5-on-4 on transition. You guys really turn that pissed off energy into, okay, I'm going to try and get a steal. Okay, next time, I'm going to run this play. Okay, make sure you're in the corner. Like, you guys are really able just to tap into that gear where you really turn that negative into an opportunity to make it a positive. So I love that. I love that,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's definitely, something that we're all guilty of. And I still definitely have done that probably
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season for sure. But it's like one of them things that you don't let consume you anymore.
yeah,
Like it's definitely something that, like, yeah, younger people should learn like you should learn it before like you get to older, and it's because it's worse to change your habits, as you
yeah,
get older. So definitely, yeah.
absolutely. And what was your biggest takeaway from your experience playing in the US at Upstate? Because that must have been an amazing experience.
Yeah, I am definitely very glad that I fulfilled like a goal of mine that I've had for a very long time. I was like obviously very like happy and almost like proud that I had
Yeah,
achieved
absolutely.
that goal. It's not easy, and it's not something that like anyone should take for granted. A main thing for me was obviously getting used to the style, but overall I was very like happy with like the people I met.
Nice.
I think that yeah, main takeaway from me was actually like lifelong friends. You kind of connect with these people. You have to just get to know them really quickly, and then when you're doing a conditioning drill and you're in it together, you kind of like, man, like yeah, yeah, like you're like, I got you, man. I know how you're feeling,
Yeah.
and you kind of obviously connect on loads of
Right.
things. But yeah, a main thing I would say is making lifelong friends, and then obviously just experiencing a different type of basketball. Like it
Yeah.
is a different kind of style of play over there. And obviously you have to get accumulated to it. And I think I definitely improved on a lot of areas of my game over there, which I am very grateful for.
Nice. I mean, if you could put it into words, like, because I understand like each program has a different basketball culture, and different areas of emphasis. Some
Hmm.
programs are very fast paced, transition, others are very post or guard heavy or individual skill. What adjustments, or what was the difference like when you was playing at Upstate, and what's kind of some of the areas that you were just mentioning that you actually got better at through that process of learning a new style?
Yeah, so, you are correct in that, like every team has a different style of play and how they want to play. I think a main difference over there is like which is actually, coming more over here, but like a lot of mid-range game is how like people
Okay.
love to score. Like there would be some teams where I would play that genuinely didn't even shoot threes. Like it would be like left hand pull up jumper, right hand pull up jumper. They were
Wow.
literally just a mid range team, and they were like they obviously practiced it so much that like that's a 10 for them.
Mm.
So I definitely think that was the main difference that I saw. Obviously the court as well, and some of the rules are a bit different. Not that I can actually
Okay.
remember. I think the key. Some of the girls were telling me that the key is bigger over there. Apparently our key is smaller. I don't
Really?
know. I don't know if that's actually correct.
Okay, okay, okay.
But that was from what they said, that was that. But I think I was definitely at a fast, like we like to play fast kind of school, and we like to shoot the ball. We
Yeah.
definitely like to get it inside more. I think another difference was that like we were a very very balanced out team. So I definitely had more work with post players than I probably
Nice.
normally would. We're very quite guard heavy,
Yeah.
in the UK. And then I think mainly for me, what I got better at was defense. I did defense
Mm.
every single day. I was probably out there, other than obviously our off days. Like defense was a main thing that we would do in practice. So that definitely, just like my understanding of how to guard certain actions, and just I think the more defense you play, the better you get at it. And obviously over there you play against like practice players. So I mainly played against, big, heavy, quick, short guys. And that definitely, I play with boys when you're younger. And I think that definitely builds character for you. And I think over there, that definitely upped my defensive game and confidence for sure.
Right. And just before we wrap up speaking about your pro career and a new chapter, first off, I mean, I said it in the beginning, but a huge congrats on signing with the Essex Rebels. I mean, how does it feel stepping into the professional game in the Women's Super League?
Yeah, it is surreal actually that you just said that, because I didn't even like clock that it is. Well, I know it's professional, but do you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is like the highest league for women that you can play in this country, and
Right.
is it is something I always thought I would do. I didn't necessarily think I would do it like this young, but I am
Yeah,
really excited because I just think I'm just gonna gain like so much more
yeah,
experience playing against like these amazing players and older veterans or internationals. So I'm excited for me to get better and understand a different type of play. I think it'll be a lot more physical,
yeah,
and you know um it'll just be a new challenge. And I feel like I'm definitely excited to start something new, getting out your comfort zone, and doing different things and starting new styles of plays, what kind of gets you better as a player. So I'm definitely obviously a little bit nervous but excited for sure to get started, and hopefully have a great few years here at Essex.
absolutely. And just even this is where I feel like you really have the advantage because it's not. I mean, oh yes, it's a big jump to play in the Super League Women's, but fortunately for you, you've come from such a decorated background of basketball at the from local league to national league, coming from great programs to playing at the international level. Like, what adjustments, whether it's through training or what you kind of anticipate, what have you already noticed transitioning from the youth international competition to the pro level, would you say?
Yeah, I definitely think I obviously mentioned it just then, but it was physicality for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes you get away with like some of these levels when we're a bit young, get away with like fast breaks and like easy
Mm,
layup points, not having a help side, having an open three, like, the likelihood of you having an open three and open layups they'll be very short-combed, I will imagine. We haven't had actually too many of our team yet here, so it's been about
Okay.
like 6 or 7 of us. So obviously we haven't done too much, 5 on 5 yet, but just from watching over the years and obviously being with, older people, like they are veterans or they are very experienced players. Like
Yeah.
there's no underestimating anyone who probably plays in this league at all. There's no one you can look at and be like, oh yeah, I'll just mark that person because I have a
Yeah.
few fouls and it'll be fine. Like, no, like you're gonna have to play defense the whole time. Like there's no one you can underestimate. There's no one who probably can't score. There's not gonna be a weak link on defense. Like
Yeah.
it's just a it's just a more experienced physical league, and I definitely think that's just something I'll have to, adjust to in being like you. There's no breaks or kind of any
Yeah.
time off. Like you gotta go on for your however many minutes and give it your all, and then you'll have time to rest, kind of thing, rather than playing a 40-minute game and being absolutely knackered and you know there will likely be no, like, blowouts, like, it's not an under
Yes.
18 game where you can just
Yeah.
go and it's fun and you win by 30, 40 points, like, there's
Yeah.
there's no more of that, unfortunately, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. And even just beyond the court, I mean, I've mentioned this a few times now, just with regards to your player profile and your high level experience. Like, and I think it's so important. Like, how do you separate Olivia, the GB guard leader, high level player, from Olivia, the person?
Oh, that is an interesting question. I think a main thing for me, so most people do know this, but I'm obviously have I'm quite the same on court as I'm a person. I'm very, vocal. I'm definitely an extrovert personality, but I just like to do, like other things. Like I feel like you should always have a scapegoat. Basketball can get
Yeah,
quite intense sometimes. So,
true.
I mean, I've done dancing since I was about 3 years old. So
Nice.
that's just something that I do, whenever I can. And like, for example, in America, I started going line dancing with my teammates on a Wednesday, and it
Nice,
was just
nice.
yeah, it's just that's just something for me that I like to do
Yeah,
because I don't do it competitively anymore, and it's not like my life. Like it's something that I just go to, have fun and like kind of just let loose, and it's not like basketball related at all.
yeah,
Yeah, so I definitely think just having a scapegoat and having, most of your friends probably going to be your teammates, but obviously making sure that you get your schoolwork done, like you still have your free time. Like it's obviously a lot to manage, but I feel like
yeah, for sure.
you definitely need a scapegoat when you take basketball, very seriously. And it's definitely something that I would suggest for other people. Maybe not particularly it has to be dancing, but just
Yes, yeah,
anything
yeah.
that people enjoy doing, if it's
Yeah,
another sport, whatever it is, just finding something that makes you happy and you not related to basketball.
right. That's because I mean, for me, like it was super important because I mean, I didn't really get to this chapter until COVID when it wasn't just me. Everyone was taken away from their love, their families, what they love to do. And for me, like to be honest, Olivia, it didn't hit me till like when the basketball season like stopped for like the NBA. I was like, oh, wait, this COVID stuff might be real. And it's like afterwards, I would watch, I think, The Last Dance, and I was kind of bored, and I was like, okay, let me watch some FIBA stuff. And then when I watched pretty much every single game, I was like, okay, what can I do that's got nothing to do with basketball? And I'm not gonna lie, Leo, for like a minute, I was like, okay, let me take off my Coach D hat and remember what Demetrius liked to do. And that was like
Yeah.
anime, learning languages, just watching TV, reading and stuff like that. So I think, I mean, you said it best, it's super key to do stuff outside of being a basketball player, because I mean, like you said, I mean, and you're living it, it can get super intense, so you definitely need things outside of basketball that just keeps you grounded. So I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And just finishing up with the beyond the game segment, this first one I'm super curious to get your mind on. Now this could go the life route, Olivia, or basketball, and the question is, what would you say, Olivia, is a skill that is taught by many but only mastered by a few?
Oh, that's a It's a difficult question. I think this could work for like both routes, basketball and life. But I think just confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is obviously something that is within yourself and only you can manage. Like, no matter how much someone tells you how good you are, tells you how bad you are, I think confidence is something that everyone should aspire to have control of and use because I myself, confidence has been, something that's always very up and down, like personally. And, I still am working on it myself. But I think, a lot of people will be like, make it sound very easy and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not. It's not
True.
something that can just, like happen like that. It's something that you have to work on and, put a lot of effort into and attention. But yeah, I definitely say just having confidence in yourself, even in like life settings, obviously, like having confidence to go and talk to that new person or go out and do something that you wouldn't normally do, or having the confidence to say, actually, no, you know what, I'm all right, thanks, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. It definitely works for both. But yeah, basketball wise, confidence is a key to how you will be successful. And it's something that if you happen to manage and have control of, it will definitely benefit you. And I'm still working on that today. But yeah,
Right.
that's something that I'd love to say. If you've mastered, like, wow, like you're like, that's great. Like, I
Yeah.
would love to be that.
Yeah. Confidence. I like that. I like that. Next one. What did failure teach you that success couldn't?
Yes. I think failure is obviously how you improve. I feel like success, in the moment or, building up to it, it's like you're so happy. It's like one of the greatest moments. If it's winning a game, an
Yeah.
award, anything like that, like in the moment, it's awesome. But like, you don't really tend to think or feel the same after it's happened. Failure is something that you will carry with you. And it's kind of one of them things where you look back and you're like, right, well, you kind of mentioned it, like you don't want to feel like that again.
Yeah.
Like it's something that can motivate you. Whereas, like, I don't feel like success can really motivate. I mean, you can obviously be motivated to be
Yeah.
successful and win an
Yeah.
award, etc. But like, I feel like that adds pressure. Failure just kind of motivates you to be better and not be in that position again and not have to deal with those emotions. And I feel like for me, like when I fail, like I'm pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that sticks in my gut. Like that doesn't stay in my like doesn't go out of my mind a few days after. Like it sticks in your gut, and it's definitely, I think, it teaches you motivation. I feel like rather than success can give you motivation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The last three, best piece of advice you ever received.
Oh, that's so hard. That is so hard. Okay, I don't really know if this is advice, but so I feel like probably the best advice I probably would have ever been given probably would have been from Nick Drain. Like, if I'm being honest, like
Shout
my
out.
Ipswich
Yeah, I love that.
coach, always, he's definitely given me a million pieces of good advice in my whole career. Like we still stay in touch now. Like
Love
he's the
that.
best. He's the best like guy to give you, confidence and advice. But I just say
Yeah.
like from the moment I got to Ipswich, like he never once would be like doubt in a shot, like especially 3-point shot I would take. And he'd always just, come up to you in your ear if you've missed a shot and be like, the next one's going in. Like, you haven't even shot it yet. And he's like, the next one's going in. And he
Yeah.
just, whenever I played for him, like, I never had any doubt in any shot I took. And, he always had it almost gave me a lot of confidence, which is why I think I was, had a very successful Ipswich career
Yeah.
because I always had confidence, like, no matter the circumstance, no matter if we're playing the top league, whatever, like, I always had, confidence. So, yeah, I guess that would be the advice. I know it's not really advice, but
Oh no,
yeah,
that is definite advice for real. Yeah.
he'd always say it. He'd just always be like, the next one's going in.
Yeah.
Or just say like one little thing that makes you think, all right, I'll do this differently, but it's just more confidence he's giving you. So yeah.
Right. Right. And the final two before we wrap up. This one is more of a statement and you have to fill in the blank.
Okay.
And the statement is if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learnt filling the blank about myself.
Oh, that's a good one. If I hadn't have played basketball, I wouldn't have found out. I think I wouldn't have found out how, I mean, I might use 2 words here, just like how
Sure.
resilient and like strong I am as a person. I think it's definitely pushed me a lot and, made me learn a lot of things. And, I've had a lot of highs and lows over my career so far. So I definitely just say being resilient and, being strong. Like, I don't think I would think that, like, I mean, strong, obviously mentally, but like strong
Yeah.
as in like I'm a tough person, like you can't get through me kind of strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I'd probably work out this much. So maybe I wouldn't know that
Right.
about myself.
Yeah. Okay. And the final one, I'm gonna set the scene. So there's been a player who's been following your career from the very start to now, and she's super excited to know that she can go down to the Essex Rebels or wherever you go on to play in the future, and she's supporting you at every single game. And she just found out that you've released a book. So she's gone to her nearest Waterstones and she's asking the librarian, "Do you know where I can get the latest book from Olivia Forster?" Librarian said, "Yeah, sure. You just go up the stairs, you turn left, you go to the best selling sports section. You can't miss it. It's on the top shelf." So she's going up the stairs now. She's super excited and she picks up your book, Olivia. And the question that I want to ask you is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
Oh, I might need a few minutes for this
Of
one.
course, please.
These are
Please take your
these are
time.
such riveting questions. Like, oh my gosh. Like, oh, what would the title of the book be? I don't want to do a cliche though, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
something really
yeah.
basic, like you can do it. Like, I'm not gonna say that. I
Take
don't
your
want to say
time.
anything cringy either though, but like I feel like that's the way my mind's working right now.
Yeah. I mean, if it's true to you, then you can express, but definitely take your time because I mean, guess in the past, even for myself, it changes, from 1 month to the other. I mean, if you was to ask me that, it would definitely take me a minute just to reflect on the ups, the downs, lessons, the tribulations, everything. So yeah, take your time. Take your time.
Okay. I think I have one. I
Okay.
guess I don't know if this is like really like portraying me, but it definitely portrays like my mindset as like a sports person. It
Yeah.
would be like if you don't want to win, why are you doing it? And then that'll be it, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know if
Okay.
that's a good one or not.
Yeah, no, no. I'll take it. Honestly, like I said, it's true to you and from people who've been following your career and people who are listening to this podcast, they've definitely learned a lot just about how you approach things, why you approach things, and just the fact that again, just high level athletes like yourself, you guys really have that kind of, yes, you guys want to compete at the highest level, but you guys also acknowledge that mistakes happen. We all have our bad days, but those bad days or moments do not define us. So
Yeah,
I
for
love that, to
sure.
be honest. Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't wanna make it seem like if you don't win, like, you're a failure or, like, that's
Yes.
like I don't wanna make it seem like that's all I care about is winning, but
Yeah.
obviously I
Yeah.
definitely especially from, like, from, like, having a lot of conversations with different kind of people in my life, like, I think
Yeah.
that having a very competitive mindset is definitely what drives me, and I think that's just probably why I would do that. Maybe if I had more time to think, I would come up with a better one, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
like
good. You're good.
I
Yeah.
go into no matter what game, anything, like even a board game, to be honest,
Yeah.
like anything in life, like I want to win, like you want to be the best. And like, I guess that's
Yeah.
just like sport wise and maybe even a little bit life wise, why I would say that. But yeah,
Yeah.
don't quote me. Don't quote me.
You're good. You're good. I mean, first off, one, must say this again. Honestly, Livia, thank you so much for your time. I know the listeners who are watching this are super appreciative just of what they've been able to uncover and learn that they can take with them to apply not just in their basketball game or the next time they have practice, but just in life as well. And for those who want to continue following you, they want to follow your Super League women's journey. When it comes to the socials, Olivia, where can they find you?
I think it's xolivia.one on most platforms, I believe. I'm not
Yeah,
actually great at social media, if I'm being honest.
no
I'm
problem.
actually
That's all
not.
good.
I'm really bad. I may as well be an old person at this point. You should see me on Twitter, like trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah,
Yeah,
xolivia.one is
yeah.
most of my handles, or xolivia.1x, I think. So yeah.
No problem. And listeners, do not worry. Those who are listening, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, the link will be in the description. But once again, listeners, appreciate your time. Olivia, honestly, thank you so much for your time. I'm super excited. I'm sure as the listeners are to see you in action with the Essex Rebels. But this is myself, Coach D, and the one and only Olivia Foster signing out.